So you want to know how long it takes to get jacked. Well, first of all, you guys notice I'm not wearing a hat today. Got a little fresh cut. Not faded up. You already know what it is. We outside. We outside today. But now back to the topic though. So you want to know how long it takes to actually get jacked. Like, honestly, how long it takes, right? I would say, honestly, I would say about 6 months. To be honest, like if depending on like your genetics and all that, I would say about 6 months to a year, you'll start to see some significant changes. Your progress might vary depending on your genetics and all that stuff. Like for me personally, when I like my fitness journey was a little weird. I'm gonna release a full guide on how I, on like, well, my full-on transformation on how I built the Jacked physique. It's coming out soon. A little presentation on how I did it. But my journey was a little interesting because I started back my fitness journey in 2019, and a lot of my fitness journey was kind of like stop start because of the COVID lockdowns, and I didn't have access to a gym. And so my journey was always kind of like, for the beginning part of my journey, it was always like cut short, and then I would start again, and then go back and start again. It was just because COVID really, I was always consistent. It was just COVID was messing me up, and that's why it took me honestly. I feel like it would have taken me like in a shorter amount of time, because when I first started my fitness journey, like back in 2019, like I was like, I think I was like 3 months. Like I started off being I weighed 160 pounds, and then I got up to 175 pounds, 178, almost 180, and then that's when they did the whole cutoff with COVID lockdowns, and I was like, oh shit. Like, so that just goes to show, like I started back my fitness journey, let's say like serious, like I started a serious bulk like probably in September, or like September, July, August, September, and then by the time I got to December, January, I was started at 160 pounds, already got up to 175 pounds, right? And I looked like noticeably different from when I started at 160 pounds to 175 pounds, right? Like it was like a night and day difference. So that just goes to show that's about what? That is about almost 6 months. So it is possible. And at that point, I could honestly say I was pretty jacked at that point. Back in when January, February, around that time, like I could say like you could start to see the newbie gains, kind of, kind of setting in. So I think a good 6 to 5 months, you'll start to see some pretty great returns on your investment. Assuming because I was like consistent, assuming you're consistent 4 to 5 times a week, but I was like every day though. Like that was when I was like obsessed. Like I was like, I'm getting jacked. So like I was going every day. Like the more consistent you are, the more results you're gonna see. Like I was pretty consistent. So that's why I saw the results that damn, this sun is glaring at me. I should have positioned the camera somewhere else. But I was really consistent. I was dead set on getting jacked. And after that 6 months, I was pretty jacked. And then COVID came along, halted all my progress, you know. But I will save that for the when the full guide comes out. But yeah, like I you I could say that people like definitely noticed it. Noticed that I was more jacked than I was in like the summertime. Because fully, once I fully committed to the bulk, like people noticed it, like, oh shit, like you're actually getting big, bro. Like you're actually getting bigger. Like people were asking me a lot more and stuff. Like before, it was just all like, yeah, like you're kind of in shape, like you're kind of like you're like a athletic build, right? Like, but then once I started getting jacked, I started to notice like the energy around me started shifting. Like once I got to that 6 month, like once I started like after that 6 month period of like consistent working out, like on a bulk, my diet was right and everything. Well, it wasn't all the way right, but I was eating in a surplus. People noticed like you got a little bigger, right? So depending on where you're starting from, like if you're someone who's like, maybe you're like really skinny, maybe you're like obese or skinny fat, like I like as long as you're like consistent and you're like doing like a proper workout routine. By the way, if you need help finding a proper workout routine specialized for you to reach your fitness goals, I'm the guy for that. I can help you with that. Hit that link down below. link in description. We'll book a call and see if it makes sense to work together. But if you're around that kind of stage where you're a beginner, those newbie gains, something called newbie gains, should be able to kick in. And like newbie gains is where it's like you can gain muscle and lose fat at the same time. And it's like it's weird. It's kind of weird to explain. It's kind of like this thing where it's like your body just rewards you for like working out, and you'll see the most amount of progress in that time frame when you're a new lifter, right? And obviously this like varies depending on your genetics. Like some people have really great bodybuilding genetics, some people don't have that great bodybuilding genetics. But regardless of the fact, like it's still not an excuse. Like anyone can make a significant amount of progress within 6 months. 6 months to a year, you'll notice definitely significant amount of progress, depending on how well you're training and what your diet is looking like. All these factors come into play, but regardless of the regardless of the fact, you will notice some significant like muscle gain and like transformation. You'll definitely be able to see the fruits of your labor within 6 months. But yeah, like now's the time. Like if you started right now, working out right now, this is probably the time I started back in 2019 when I started going serious on that bulk. If you start right now, I promise you, January, February, you're gonna notice like huge difference, huge difference in your physique. You're gonna notice. You're gonna notice. You're gonna notice. People are gonna notice around you, and you're gonna notice yourself. You're gonna start to change. It's the and it's the. But you gotta remember the first step to recreating yourself is just taking action. You gotta take that action. You gotta. It starts with committing to a routine. You know, doesn't matter what kind of excuses you got. I don't care if you work a full-time job. I don't care if you're a university student or if you do both. You don't have a vehicle. Whatever the excuse is, cut the bullshit and just get to work. I'm telling you, if you just commit to it, like 5 to 3 times a week, right? As best as you can, try to commit to that. By January, you're gonna be a different person. You will have recreated yourself. People will start to notice, and you'll even notice it within yourself. But that's all I got for today. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification for when I post again. And remember, there's nothing enlightening about playing small. Oh, and don't forget to book a one-on-one coaching call so that we can discuss whether or not it makes sense to work together. And let's make your fitness goals a reality. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.